Congratulations, your search for buyers abroad is over through the help of the Eureka Pack. The Eureka Pack helps you do 7 things in order to get buyers abroad. It shows you how to 1. Get prepared to get buyers abroad. 2. Get the online tools to deploy to get buyers abroad. 3. Get list of markets with demands for your products. 4. Get the list of importers in that market. 5. Get the contacts of importers in that market. 6. Get the export contracts from the contact details of the importers. 7. Get favorable export contract terms. The Eureka Pack shows you how to enter the billion-dollar markets available for your products across the world at a very discounted rate of 60,000 naira. The valuable materials that you get upon purchase include 2 manuals and 27 videos explaining and demonstrating how to use the manuals to find buyers abroad. We know you are elated already and interested in ordering for the Eureka Pack right away. Place your order via a WhatsApp chat to 0809 999 3142 or email to info@3timpex.com. You can get this pack for just 60,000 naira. Grab your copy now.
I am looking for information on how to export chin-chin and plantain chips.
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
I need information on how to process and package smoked fish for export.
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
Okay, how about information on the quality requirements of palm oil for export?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
All right. What of information on how to do my pricing and costing for honey and tea export?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
What if I want information on how to find buyers abroad for poundo yam?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
The Processed Foods Export Atlas is the most important book you will ever read for successful export business. It is a one-stop shop for all the information required to export 30 processed foods. To place your order at 40,000 Naira call or chat 080912 345 673. Processed Foods Export Atlas, your ultimate guide to successfully export 30 processed foods.
At 3T Impex, we believe every aspiring exporter deserves a clear pathway to international success.
That's why we created the Export Mentoring Program, from Export Novice to Export Legend.
This is a 6-month hands-on mentoring program designed to take you from beginner to global exporter.
Every participant is guaranteed direct contact with 5 active international buyers.
You receive step-by-step handholding, from product selection and branding to documentation, logistics, and payments.
Most of our participants begin their first export transaction within 3 to 6 months.
And when you complete the program, you continue to enjoy free advisory services.
The program costs 1,200,000 naira and runs virtually with participants from Nigeria and around the world. If you're ready to move from Export Novice to Export Legend, this program is for you.
All right, thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and good evening, Happy New Year. We're starting a new series of webinars. We typically have our webinar on Thursday, but this particular one will be every Tuesday by 5 p.m. We know one of the challenges that people have is finding buyers, and we're going to be looking at, you can see on the screen, about 105 different products. So every week, we're going to take them one by one. Today will be introduction. But next week, we are going to do cocoa, then cashew, then ginger, then sesame, how to find buyer for each of these products, their peculiarities, and what you should do and what you should put in place in finding buyers. I believe this will finally put an end to the challenges a lot of businesses have in finding buyers. Today, we are looking at introduction. And by the way, this material will be available on YouTube free, so you also have access to it on our YouTube channel. If you join us live, you also have opportunity to ask questions. So prepare your question. Typically for our Thursday, we don't give room for questions because we are saving time. But this time around, we'll give room for question and answer. So towards the end, for those attending live, they have access to ask questions. But for those that will not attend live, you can, of course, have access to the recorded version on our YouTube channel. All right. Thank you very much, Fumilayo, and thank you, Olubumi. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. The YouTube channel where you will get the recording is Global Trade Tutor and Voice of African Trade. Global Trade Tutor and Voice of African Trade. This is our contribution in 2026 for the advancement of trade education in Africa. All right. If you are here to join our Telegram channel, you can join our Telegram channel. You can also see us on WhatsApp, Export 360 on WhatsApp. Export 360 on WhatsApp. and on Telegram, African Export Business Platform. African Export Business Platform. All right, so we'll be starting right away. Number one, most important question, what you need to understand, and I will show you this every week. And the reason is for you to understand what we're trying to do. If you look at this chart, you notice that the first thing here is preparation. When you are adequately prepared, you know exactly what to do to promote. And when you promote effectively, you know what to do to get purchasers. When you promote effectively, you know what to do to get purchasers. So we spend a lot of time on preparation and promotion for you to be able to get purchase order. And when you get purchase order, you can, of course, do your procurement or production, depending on whether you are the producer or not. And then you can go and do your packaging and labeling, do your pre-export documentation, post-clearance and inspection, post-export documentation, port-to-port shipment, presentation of document, port clearance and inspection at destination, and finally, payment. All right. Now, in preparing for export, still on preamble, what are the things that you need to take note of? Because this is one of the things that people find it difficult to understand. You are trying to get buyers. First, number one is you have to know how to choose the market. And I will also talk about this every week as it relates to different products we're going to be talking about. You need to know how to choose the market. How do you choose the market? Number one, you need to understand the prohibition list. You need to know the potential market for the product. You need to know who the purchasers are in those markets. You need to know have a personnel in that market. You need to know the paperwork required in that market. You need to know the pricing requirement in that market. You need to know the packaging and labeling requirement in the market. And lastly, the political economy in that market. What exactly does this mean? Prohibition list. This involves checking to ensure that the selected product for export is not on the prohibition list of the importing country. Potential. This involves checking to ensure that the selected market has potential demand for the selected product. Someone wants to export to the US. The product you want to export is in demand in the US. You are choosing a market. Does the product have a demand? And for all those 105 products we're going to be looking at in the next 2 years, that means we'll be finishing around December 2027. In the next 2 years, we'll be looking at these 106 products. The product you have chosen or you have decided to export, does it have a demand in the market you are looking at? Does it have a demand in that market? The purchaser. This involves checking to ensure that the selected export market has different options for the distribution of the selected product. Then the personnel. This involves checking to ensure that the exporter can get an overseas sales representative in the selected export market. This is particularly important when you are not having a payment method that protects you. You don't have a demand guarantee. You don't have a standby letter of credit. You don't have a letter of credit as a payment method or trade finance instrument to protect you. Then having a personnel in that market is extremely critical. And to be able to build credibility, that might become necessary. The paperwork, this involves checking to ensure that the exporter can get the necessary documentation required to sell the selected product in the export market. The pricing, this involves checking to ensure that the pricing of the selected product for the export market is competitive. If you are shipping a product, let's say roasted cashew nut, if you are shipping to the UK and shipping to the US, you stand a better chance to sell at a better price in the US than the UK. Maybe because UK is just about 6 hours away, but the competition in the UK is crazy. It's very high. It's very, very high. So if you are going to North America, Canada, Mexico, US, you are at a greater advantage. Packaging and labeling. This involves checking to ensure that the packaging and labeling of the selected product is suitable for the export market. And political economy. This involves checking to ensure that the market is free from political risk, from economic risk that can hinder delivery to the market or payment in that market. Now, we've talked about choosing the market. How about knowing the product? You cannot effectively promote the product and get buyer if you don't know the product. What is the purpose of the product? That gives you an idea of those that buy. What are the parameters of the product? What are the potential demand for the product? Who are the purchasers of the product? What are the packaging requirements for the product? What is the paperwork requirement for the product? What are the pricing detail for the product? How do you arrive at a good pricing? And the pitfall of the product. And by this, I mean the purpose. This involves knowing the uses of the product because this gives an exporter an idea of the sector of the economy where potential buyer operate. The sector of the economy where the potential buyer operate, and that will help you in your promotional activity. The parameter. This involves knowing the quality specification of the product based on their uses in different sectors of the economy. What are the quality specification of the product? If you don't know your product, it will be difficult for you to promote it effectively in the export market. If you don't know your product, it's difficult for you to promote effectively in the export market. What are the quality specification? Number 3, the potential. This involves knowing the total global regional demand, and for each product we are treating every week, we're going to show you the top 10 markets with high demand. So when you are trying to prospect a market, you know if there is even a demand for this product and the top 10 markets with that demand. This involves knowing the total global and regional demand of the product and also the trend of the demand. The purchasers. The purchaser. This involves knowing the businesses that buy the product. The businesses that buy the product. And their position in the supply chain of that product in the export market. The packaging. This involves knowing the package, how to package the product and the type of material to be used in packing the product for safe transportation to the export market. The paperwork. This involves knowing the pre- and post-export documentation plus the documentation required to clear the good in the export market. The pricing. This involves knowing the cost element required for shipment of the item and being able to arrive at a profitable price for sustainability of the business in the export market. The pitfall. This involves knowing the quality issues. This involves knowing the quality issues peculiar to the product and how to mitigate them in the export market. Knowing your product is very important in finding buyers. Knowing your product, knowing your product, knowing the product you want to export. If you want to learn more about having information on knowing your product, then I would recommend you get the Processed Food Export Atlas.
I am looking for information on how to export chin-chin and plantain chips.
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
I need information on how to process and package smoked fish for export.
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
Okay, how about information on the quality requirements of palm oil for export?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
All right. What of information on how to do my pricing and costing for honey and tea export?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
What if I want information on how to find buyers abroad for poundo yam?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
The Processed Foods Export Atlas is the most important book you will ever read for successful export business. It is a one-stop shop for all the information required to export 30 processed foods. To place your order at 40,000 Naira call or chat 080912 345 673. Processed Foods Export Atlas, your ultimate guide to successfully export 30 processed foods.
I am looking for
So if you are looking to get materials to understand your product, we have, for processed food, we have about 30 product cover, as you can see on the screen. And for agro commodity, we have about 20 product cover, as you can see on the screen. Let's start. Now, we are going to talk about summary. Remember, this is a 2-year program, and we're looking at about 105 different products. Today is introduction, and from next week, we are going to take the product one after the other. And for those of you that missed the session, it will be available on our YouTube channel, so you can have access to it. But if you are in the live class, you will be able to have opportunity to ask questions regarding what you are trying to do about your own product in the export market. Promotion. Let's look at agro commodity. Marketing and selling agro commodities like ginger, hibiscus, sesame, cashew, cocoa, shea nut, grain. Require deep international demand cycle. quality standard, deep knowledge of international demand cycle, quality standard, supply consistency, global buyer behavior. Unlike processed food, agro-commodity are raw materials, so buyer focus heavily on quality, certification, and traceability. The first fundamental is market research. Agro-commodity exporter must understand global consumption trend. Like, let me give you a good example of this. When the cocoa price went up, the demand for cocoa began to drop because people producing chocolate needed to look for option and they went for shea nut. Suddenly, the price of shea nut went up because the shea butter is a substitute for the cocoa butter they use in a number of applications of cocoa butter. Global consumption trend, seasonal price movement, import statistics, competition, destination country requirement. Some country demand specific grade, moisture level, pesticide limit, or other certification like organic fair trade and the like. Knowing this requirement helps an exporter refine their product to meet the market expectation. Customer segmentation. Now, for every product we look at every week, we're going to be digging deep into this information I'm talking about so that we are going to now be product specific, because when you're trying to source for buyer, you can't be generalizing as if you are doing the same thing for different products. Each product has its own peculiarity. Customer segmentation. This includes importer, food processor, spices manufacturer, tea companies, wholesalers, ingredient distributors, and commodity traders. Each segment has different needs. Manufacturers require consistent supply and proper documentation, like certificate of analysis and first-time certificate. In fact, for commodity export, first-time certificate is a very key and important document. Some markets will not even ask you for fumigation certificate, but most markets will ask you for phytosanitary certificate. Trader focus on pricing and large volume availability. Tea company prioritize color, aroma, purity. Understanding each group allow exporters to tailor their sales messages effectively. Value proposition. A clear value proposition is essential because many agro commodities come from multiple countries. Buyers have alternatives. Exporters must differentiate through quality consistency, reliable supply, competitive pricing, efficient logistics, and strong documentation, highlighting testing, sorting, cleaning, and grading capability, increase credibility. How about visibility? Promotion relies heavily on visibility across the global trade channel. So, agri-commodity buyers search online through platforms like Tridge, Alibaba, Trademark, Global Sources, even LinkedIn. Exporters must maintain a professional online identity, sharing grading videos. In fact, generally, in my opinion, if you are thinking of export, you must have a website. And in having a website, all this information must be available on your website. At any trade fair such as Anuga Trade Food Tech, Gulf Food in Dubai, Balfac, and Food Ingredient Expo help exporters connect directly with global buyers. Quality control. Quality control. Quality control. Quality control and compliance are backbone of agro-commodity. Someone is sending a request for companion. Don't worry, you will have access to it. I've said it. I mean, typically, we always make it available only privately on our e-learning platform for people that want to learn. But we know many people need this, so we are not putting on our platform for people to pay. It's going to be available free on our YouTube channel. So you don't need to ask me for access to companion because you have access to it. I will show you the YouTube channel again when we are rounding up so you can subscribe, you know, when we upload it and be able to gain access to it. Quality control. Quality control and compliance are backbone of agro commodity export marketing. Buyers scrutinize moisture content, impurity, aflatoxin level. These are one of the aflatoxin is a major reason for agro commodity rejection from Nigeria. Major reason for rejection. Grain size, color, cleanliness. Exporters must understand international standard and ensure every shipment meets specification. Poor quality and inconsistent delivery lead to immediate rejection and loss of customers' trust. Pricing is a big deal. If you are doing commodity, you know that the margin of commodity export is very thin. Very thin. Sometimes as low as 5%. Most times 10 to 15%. So most people in commodity business do it for the volume. So if I'm doing ₦1 billion worth and I make 10%, that's 100 million. That's a lot of money. So it makes sense if I'm doing large volume. So pricing is critical. Remember, it's commodity. So you don't have any advantage like that, unlike when you have processed product or finished goods. Pricing agro commodity is influenced by global supply and demand conditions. Seasonal variation, origin cost, freight, all affect price. Exporter must follow global price movement and negotiate standard terms. Some of these products are sold on different platforms as futures. So you can follow those trends maybe on, what's the name? You will see some of the prices on business day for Nigeria. But if you get Bloomberg, yeah, Bloomberg have it. Tree have the price also. And a number of other platforms have the price. You can check to be able to know what the prices are. Exporter must follow global price movement and negotiate using standard terms. Understanding Incoterms and freight dynamics is critical for accurate quotation and negotiation. Documentation is essential for agro commodity. I've mentioned phytosanitary. Fumigation is also there. Some will want certificate of origin. Of course, lab test certificate is extremely, extremely important. Lab test certificate is extremely, extremely important. Solid minerals. Solid minerals. Now, if you're in the solid mineral space, this is for you. Selling solid mineral like lithium, mica, gypsum, kaolin, manganese, lead, or zinc, or feldspar require different marketing approach from agro-commodity and processed food. Solid minerals buyers focus the major thing that is of concern to solid mineral buyer is mineral purity. Purity level. Remember, they're going to refine, they're going to process, the purity level is critical. Chemical composition, production capacity, mining compliance, documentation, and long-term supply reliability. First fundamental is technical market research. Exporters must understand the mineral grade. There are some grade that cannot be processed by a number of factories. So at that level, there is rejection. And just like you have in solid mineral, in agri-commodity, it's peculiar to solid minerals. There is discounting pricing. It's also in agri-commodity, but it's very prominent in solid mineral. For every 1% decline, there is some dollar you'll be losing. Remember, the lower the grade, the higher the cost of refining and extracting the material from them. Industrial uses buyer requirement, global consumption pattern, competitive pricing market, buyer such as chemical manufacturer, steel plant, battery producer, glass manufacturer, ceramic factories, commodity trader, demand precise composition. Exporter must study global price index, HS code, geological report, and mineral specification to understand buyer's expectation. How about segmentation? Include manufacturers. Use the minerals raw materials. But quite frankly, there are a lot of traders. Oh, okay, it's kept going. Okay, thank you for that. It's my monitor. Thank you, Oluwagbemiga. I will Gbemisola rather. Don't worry, I will use an earpiece for my monitor so that you don't get the echo. Thank you very much. Oh, someone says it's not. Anyway, I've already used an earpiece so that I can hear myself. I want to be sure if I have issue with my network, so I always like to hear myself. Thank you. Bulk trader, distributors, industrial processors, manufacturers want exact specification and require SGS inspection and lab tests. So trader focus on price and volume availability. Distributor wants steady shipment and predictable quality. Exporter must tailor their approach based on each segment need. Based on each segment need. Value proposition. This is the critical part of it. In promoting and getting buyer. Because mineral buyer evaluates supplier based on, again, please note this, purity. Then chemical composition. Because sometimes there are some impurity they don't want. Like arsenic, for example, is a very common. You will see they don't want mercury, they don't want arsenic, they don't want any radioactive element in the solid minerals, which is where beneficiation becomes necessary to ensure that it's likely the kind of mineral they want. Logistic capacity, consistent volume, and regulatory compliance. Exporter must highlight mine location, production capacity, quality control, procedure, testing result, and loading efficiency. Mineral are technical products. So buyers are reassured by structure, presentation, lab result. They call it assay report. Very important, and compliance document. Professional visibility. Promotion in mineral sector rely on professional visibility in industrial channel rather than consumer channel. So exporter must use platforms like Alibaba, Meta Bulletin, Global Meta Directory, Trig again, Mining, Indaba, and LinkedIn in some cases. Technical brochures, SGS, Intertech Lab report, geological survey, high quality picture of mineral, increased credibility, participation in mining expos, industrial trade fairs, and B2B networking is also necessary. Quality control, the core of mineral export marketing, quality control. Buyer evaluate parameters such as purities, particle size. My recommendation if you are doing minerals is to ensure it's in concentrate form. Grind it to ensure it's very fine, sand-like, and uniform, very uniform, because that also affects the sampling process and the quality at the end of the day. Someone say no sound. I can hear myself, so please, someone should tell Lucy to go out and come in again. He said no sound. Exporter must carry out pre-shipment testing and share SGS or ISO report to prove quality. Inconsistent quality report result is in shipment rejection and then legal dispute. Pricing. All right, thank you, Q. Queen said you can hear me, so obviously Lucy have issue with network. Pricing strategy. This involves commodity price, grade differentials, mining cost, logistics, shipment loading. Exporter must monitor global price movement and negotiate using standard Incoterms. Mineral typically are shipped in bulk, containers, or loose cargo. In Nigeria, most of the shipments are done in 50 kg bags loaded in 40 feet, 20 feet containers. Documentation is critical. Now, if you're exporting from Nigeria, if you're a miner, you will still need an export permit. If you are not a miner, you need a mineral trading license valid for 1 year to be able to carry mineral around, and you still need an export permit to ship it out of Nigeria. So it's important you understand those documentation even at local level. Besides the SGS assay report, mining licenses, analyst certificate, and all other permits that might be required. Then processed food. Marketing and selling processed food in export markets require a blend of regulatory compliance, strong branding, consumer insight, strategic positioning are very necessary. Processed food include noodles, snacks, beverages, condiments, cereals, snacks, sauce, drinks. They face tougher scrutiny because they enter directly into the consumer food chain. So this makes quality assurance, packaging standard, documentation central. The foundation begins with market research again, but this time around, exporter must study import data, and I'll be showing you a lot of data in this series for each of the products. Food consumption pattern, diaspora demand, retail trend, and competition in potential markets. Markets such as UK, US, EU, Middle East, Africa have different regulatory requirements and packaging expectation. So understanding which country have high demand for specific processed food help exporter avoid random marketing and focus on market with strong consumption potential. Customer segmentation is so important for processed food. Essential because processed food buyers vary widely. And like I said, in each of the sessions, we'll be looking at this segmentation, and the goal is to help you in your promotion, even if you are talking to a rep abroad to help you they need to know which market, which segment of the market it should be focusing on. Importer, supermarket, distributor, ethnic retail store, restaurant, food service companies, all buy for different reasons. So supermarket demand retail ready packaging and barcoding. But ethnic store want authentic taste and product familiar to diaspora communities. Distributor want competitive price and reliable packaging. Understanding buyer need make marketing more targeted and of course effective. How about the value proposition? Remember, it's value add, it's processed, it's finished, ready for consumption. So a strong value proposition that differentiates a processed food exporter from competitor is necessary. Buyer want consistency, attractive packaging, competitive pricing, and of course, certification. Maybe you have HACCP, ISO, or FDA, or CE for EU, and clear labeling that follow destination country regulation. Exporter must highlight attributes such as long shelf life, stable supply, compliant labeling, private label capability. Buyers are more willing to work with exporter who can guarantee quality and, of course, comply with regulatory requirements. Branding and packaging play a huge role in processing. If you say screen is not moving, that must be your network. I have a monitor here and I can see my screen moving. So the lady that talked about, okay, thank you, Fumlayo. Branding and packaging play a huge role in processed food export. Packaging must be attractive, durable, properly labeled, and compliant with nutritional and allergen declaration. Good packaging help products compete on the shelf of supermarket. Poor packaging or labeling error cause rejection. Then online visibility is so important. You must have a website. I'm going to talk about what I call protocol very soon, like step by step, A to Z of what you must get ready before you even approach a buyer. I'm looking at that shortly. And one of the things on that list is ensuring that you have, and very important, you have a website. Then having a digital catalog make a lot of sense, or product catalog. Certification is necessary. Listen to this video of your production process, particularly if you have a lot of women and youth on your payroll that you're hiring, particularly if you can document the process from the farm to your factory and to export. Putting those videos on your website, putting on your social media is so important. Some people will buy from you because a lot of your workers are women. So a lot of consideration nowadays because of ESG. Exporter must use B2B platforms. Demarketing also is necessary. Food trade fair like Gulf Food and Nuga, and distributor outreach campaign. Retail chain buyer often research supplier online before responding to inquiry. So that means even when you reach out to them, let's say you got their contact, and I'm going to show you how to get those contacts in this series. If you get their contact, the reason why they don't respond to you, I'm going to tell you. The reason why when you reach out, they don't respond. Because some of you have reached out in the past and they didn't respond to you. Why? We'll talk about that in this series. Because it's important you understand the way they think about us, so you can bypass that hurdle. Retail chain buyer often research suppliers online. That means you have to be online. You can't just have your website. You should be on social media, maybe Facebook or Instagram. At the least, if possible, maybe you can add LinkedIn to it. Pricing also is important. I've told you how important this is. You must take into account ingredient, product cost, packaging, freight, Incoterm insurance, and importer's margin. Exporter must understand Incoterm like FOB, CIF, CFR. If they are asking you, look, if you are approaching a buyer and you are going to quote a price, you can't quote CFR price. You can't quote CIF price. You have to quote FOB price. Because there's so many things you don't know yet about the buyer, you only know your cost until the good is loaded on board the ship. So your prices on your website or on your product catalog must be FOB price. Unless you know where the person is going to come from. But because it's a general promotion you are doing, you are not likely going to know where the person is joining or getting to have access to your information. So before I go on a short break, let me show you 26 protocols to follow. I'll run through it because of time. Because, like I said, we'll be taking question and answer on this session so that those that attend live can have their question and answer, even though the video will be posted on our YouTube channel afterwards. Protocol. A, avoid prospecting for buyer before export readiness evaluation. So be export ready. If you want to learn how to be export ready, we have a free readiness evaluation on our website, 3thinkpets.com. If you visit our website, we have a free export readiness evaluation so you can evaluate yourself and see how ready you are. If you score 70 and above, you are good to go. If you score 69, if you score 69 and below, don't start yet. If you score 70 and above, 70 to 90 is almost ready. 90 and above is ready. It's so important for you to be ready. Build business profile on different platforms. Have a website, at least have a website, and at least, in addition to the website, at least have a Facebook page or an Instagram page. If they Google the company, they should be able to see some things you have online. Consistency takes your product from awareness to action. So keep posting. Design a product catalog. So have a catalog, a PDF format that you can download from your website. It's a catalog. Maybe in the course of this series, I will also show you a sample of catalog we've used in the past. Ensure you have a budget for online promotion. Finding buyer contact abroad does not translate to contract. Someone said the difference between contact and contract is R, and R means relationship. I love that analogy. So that you have a contact number, because I will show you different ways you can get contact of buyers, but does not mean you will have contract. Give out regular information about your product to build credibility. Have a representative in the target export market. This is a cardinal point for me, particularly if you don't have a secure payment method, but even for buyer to trust you sometimes. I said sometimes they don't respond to your message because you're chatting or calling or mailing from Africa, particularly Nigeria. And with internet fraud and Yahoo everywhere, they are afraid. But if someone in their country reach out to them with the country calling code, a number that shows the code in their country, most likely they will respond. That's why I always recommend you have a representative. And for those of you that travel regularly, sometimes you might have a foreign line and you call with that foreign line, but you have an address over there that they can use to trace you. Jumping on a call. Interaction with your company website is critical, so get it ready. Jumping on a call from your country could hinder chance of closing sales. Knowledge of export market is critical success factor. Let your marketing effort direct the buyer abroad to your website. Mentoring is needed to minimize delay and your error rate. Never promote in export market when you are not ready for shipment. What if you start promoting and the person is asking, when are you shipping? We are ready to buy. You now tell them, oh, sorry, we'll get back to you. So why are you promoting if you're not ready to ship? Never promote, because you can never tell. Some of the things we'll be discussing, if you implement them, you begin to see results, you can never tell. Open account, risk can be mitigated. So give the buyer a chance. Someone say you want to do open account with you. If you're not familiar with open account, you can Google it and learn about it. You can also get information on that on our YouTube channel. Open account has risk, but it can be mitigated. So don't discard buyer that give you open account. Promptly respond to inquiry about the product. Quitting because of delay in getting buyer should not be an option. Remember to tell stories of business social impact on your website. Secure a storage facility. at the target market. Target export market with potential in your export promotion. Understand that export promotion online is a process. View your competitor page. If you want to ship to a country, who are those already selling similar products? Check their page now. You might be able to learn a lot about how best to promote. Write a full corporate offer to send in your first mail to your prospective buyer. X-ray the platform with good engagement and focus on it. So if you start by promoting on different platforms, the one that is giving you good engagement, you focus on it, because that means that most likely that's where the people you are looking for are located. Yearn for more knowledge, improving visibility to your product abroad, and zeal for global relevance is the fuel for continuous export promotion. So we'll go on a short break. When we return, we're going to talk about the people, understanding the people in the export market. We're going to talk about the purchasers in the export market. We're going to talk about the problem often encounter in getting buyers and how to overcome them before we close. So we're going to break now. When we return, we go through this.
Congratulations, your search for buyers abroad is over. Through the help of the Eureka Pack. The Eureka Pack helps you do 7 things in order to get buyers abroad. It shows you how to 1. Get prepared to get buyers abroad. 2. Get the online tools to deploy to get buyers abroad. 3. Get list of markets with demands for your products. 4. Get the list of importers in that market. 5. Get the contacts of importers in that market. 6. Get the export contracts from the contact details of the importers. 7. Get favorable export contract terms. The Eureka Pack shows you how to enter the billion-dollar markets available for your products across the world at a very discounted rate of 60,000 naira. The valuable materials that you get upon purchase include 2 manuals and 27 videos explaining and demonstrating how to use the manuals to find buyers abroad. We know you are elated already and interested in ordering for the Eureka Pack right away. Place your order via a WhatsApp chat to 0809 999 3142 or email to info@3timpex.com. You can get this pack for just 60,000 naira. Grab your copy now.
Ready to take your food brand global? Meet the Processed Foods Export Atlas, your complete export playbook, practical, step-by-step, and built for real-world results. Explore clear guidance for 30 high-demand processed foods, and the list include spices, roasted peanut, roasted cashew nuts, honey, soup and broth, sauce, seasoning, dried fruits, dried vegetables, chin-chin, plantain flour, packaged jollof rice, packaged fried rice, and lots more. Grow smarter, export faster, and scale with confidence. Get the Processed Foods Export Atlas today and turn your products into global bestsellers.
To order for the manual, place your order at 40,000 naira. Delivery would be made to anywhere in Nigeria. Call or chat 080912 345 673 080912 345 673. Place your order now.
Ready to take your food brand.
At 3T Impex, we believe every aspiring exporter deserves a clear pathway to international success.
That's why we created the Export Mentoring Program, from Export Novice to Export Legend.
This is a 6-month hands-on mentoring program designed to take you from beginner to global exporter.
Every participant is guaranteed direct contact with 5 active international buyers.
You receive step-by-step handholding, from product selection and branding to documentation, logistics, and payments.
Most of our participants begin their first export transaction within 3 to 6 months.
And when you complete the program, you continue to enjoy free advisory services.
The program costs 1,200,000 naira and runs virtually with participants from Nigeria and around the world. If you're ready to move from Export Novice to Export Legend, this program is for you.
All right.
At 3.
Yes. The people. Now, in going into an export market, here are some important questions. And these are some of the questions we'll be asking regarding the 105 different products we're going to be exploring in the next 2 years as we meet every week on Tuesday to talk about how to find buyers for different products. Who, why, what, when, which, where. Let's take it one by one. The people are the final consumer of the good in the export market. A business that's ready to go global must understand the characteristics of its typical customer in the export market. This means the promoter of the business needs to have a very good understanding of the six, what I call the 6W of its consumer in the export market. The who, the why, the what, the when, the which, and the where of the customer. Who? The who of the consumer involves understanding the demographic of the customer and hence their financial capability. This means the promoter needs to know the age range of the consumer, gender that buy the most, the income level, which influence the social status of the consumer, the level of education attained by typical customer or consumer of the product, family structure, life stage occupation, and target consumer in the export market. The why. The why of the consumer involves understanding the psychography of the consumer, activity, interest, and opinion, their lifestyle, concern, when they buy, personality type, what they value, their attitude to life in general. The what involve understanding the behavior of the consumer. This means the promoter needs to note the benefit that the consumer are looking for in the product, what they use the product for, and the reason or motivation behind the purchase of the product. The when. The when of the consumer involve understanding of the timing and season of purchase by consumer. This means the promoter need to know the time of the day, or the week, or the month when consumer buy. It also covers period of the year when consumer buy the product the most. This is particularly important when the buying decision are influenced by weather condition, season of the year like summer, winter, spring, and fall. The which of the consumer involve understanding the way they buy. This means the promoter need to know the preferred option of the consumer at the point of purchase. This involves knowing the variant of the product the consumer buy the most, and this variant could be based on shape, size, volume, spices, color, flavor, constituent, sources, material that the products are made of. Then where? The where. The way of the consumer involves the understanding the geography of the consumer, where the consumer buy the product the most. This involves the country of the consumer, the activity within the country, the population density, the preferred language often spoken, and the climatic situation of the area and the population of the area where the consumer are concentrated. So, how do we get the purchasers? The first thing I want to talk about is identifying the purchaser. Here, my focus here rather is identifying the purchaser. Identifying the real buyer in the export market is not a guesswork. It's a structured strategic process. Many exporters fail not because buyer does not exist, but because they do not follow the principle that help them locate and understand qualify the buyer who need the product. Here is the framework. Number one, understand the end user. The end user industry. Before looking for buyer, exporters must understand who is using the product and why. What industry depend on this product, particularly for commodities? What company use it as raw material or ingredient? Who resell it? Who process it? Who is distributing it? Cashew nut. Example would be snack manufacturers, if you are doing raw cashew nut. If you are doing hibiscus, maybe tea manufacturer or herbal company. If you are doing ginger, maybe spice blender or ingredient supplier. If you are doing lithium, maybe battery maker or chemical refiner. Knowing the end user industry narrow down the real buyer. The real buyer. The real buyer. Someone said the wish wasn't elaborated. By which, maybe you didn't hear what I was saying. This has to do with which option are they buying the most. I talk about the shape, the size, the volume, the color, this flavor. A number of things can influence which. There'll be Q&A. So you can always ask those questions. And by the way, if you have questions, it's good. You can actually drop the question just the way the person just did now. You can drop your question in the chat. Principle 2, follow the value chain. Every product has a value chain. rebuyer sit at the key point? The importer, or the distributor, or the wholesaler, or the manufacturer, or the retailer? You need to identify which of these points do you want to target. Do you want to target the people importing, or the distributors, or the wholesalers, or the manufacturer, or the retailer? Understanding where products enter this chain help you identify the right buyer category to target. Use the HS code as the foundation. The HS code is universal language of global trade. Using HS code help you identify which country imports your product the most, which company are registered as importer, which market demand the high. In fact, if you're on some platforms like Panjiva, for example, Export Genius, for example, if you're on platform and you're trying to get buyers who buy a product, you are better with HS code because people can describe the product in different way, but the HS code will still be the same. Cocoa, for example, they can define cocoa in Nigerian cocoa, premium cocoa, fermented cocoa. It's still the same HS code they have. So particularly the first 2 digits or the first 4 digits in some cases can help you to be able to get who exactly is buying this product. So HS code can help. Number 4, target country with existing demand. Do not choose market randomly. Potential buyers are found where import volume are high. So I will be recommending you use trade map. Use trade map. Let me give an example. Give me a product. Drop a product in the chat. I want to show you something on trade map. Some people don't know there's a free platform where they can access detail of who is buying. Drop a product in the chat you want me to check the buyers. Just drop a product for me in the chat, please. Drop a product for me in the chat. I want to show you something. Okay, someone has dropped dry fish. Now, that is fish. That is fish. That is fish. Or we can call it smoked fish. Now, I will show my screen now. I'm on a platform you can access. It's free. Although if you don't register, you might not be able to get a lot from this platform. It's called Trademap. It's free. It's by World Bank. ITC rather. So if you look at this, confirm you can see my screen. So drop you can see my screen. I can see my screen on my monitor, but let me show. Okay, yes. Someone says yes. Okay, fantastic. If you look at this, can you see the first 6 digits? Look at smoked fish. You can expand your screen so you can see what I'm pointing on. If you look at smoked fish there, it says 030549, 030549. And you can see smoked fish. Smoked fish. So if I click on this now, remember I put single here, economy, and then I will click here. I put import because I'm looking for importer. Then I'll click yearly time series. It's asking me to sign in, to log in. I don't know why it's giving me this issue. Sorry. Let me log in first so I don't have that issue again. Why is it enhanced protection? Why is it giving me this issue? Reload. Wow, this is sad. I don't know why Trademap is giving this issue for me today. Let me see if you see allow me. Smoke fish. Smoke fish time series. Wow, 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 wow. I think something. Hold on. Let me use another browser and see if that will work. Hold on. I'm trying to use another browser. Let me be sure if it's my browser that is giving me issues. If the other browser work, then I will. It's showing exactly the same problem. I guess maybe the site is having a problem because I visit this site regularly and I've not had this kind of issue before. I'm sorry I won't be able to demonstrate what I want to demonstrate. It's still giving me that issue. I don't know what the problem is. It's still giving me the issue. Unfortunately. I'm trying to see if I can just bypass it. Just give me some minute. I don't know why it's giving that issue. But what I wanted to show you, I'm trying to show you, I'll be showing you that same information in future as we look at other. I'm having an issue with the. I don't know what the problem is with the website. But typically, if you put those details, someone is messing up my screen. If you put those details, normally what should happen is if you put a product on this list like we did and you are logging already, the challenge now is that it's not allowing me to log in. I don't know what the problem is. It's saying my laptop is showing like as if it's not a good place to visit, and that's not correct. So I'm still having that issue. Hold on, let me use my tablet. If I still have the same issue on my tablet, then that means I can't show you. But I mean, at least you can see it yourself, so you can easily visit it. It's available for everybody free of charge. It's a website of ITC, so you don't need to pay to access it. And the website provides so much information that might be of interest to you because it helps you when you are looking for buyer to know the country to focus your attention on so you don't just waste your time. So I think there's a problem with the website. I will have to continue because of time because I've tried on my tablet. I'm having the same on different browser and on my tablet, the same problem. So I will have to move on because of time. So use trade data sources such as ITC Trademark, UN, Comtrade, Export Promotion Agency, or go where demand already exists. The idea is there are enough information online that can tell you that, look, buyer exists in so-so country or so-so place. Match buyer size with your capacity. A potential buyer is someone whose demand you can consistently satisfy. Example, if you produce 20 tons per month, do not target someone that needs 500 tons per month. If you can't maintain consistent quality, avoid high-end European buyers. The principle here is capacity alignment equals few disappointment and of course faster sales. Then look for buyer who need your product features. Okay, someone says it's unable to log in. So I think it's from them. Okay, so it's good. I think it's from them. Someone said maybe IP issue. I don't know why. I mean, we've logged in regularly from Nigeria. I don't know what the problem is. I won't be surprised if it's an IP issue, but at least it wasn't an issue logging in from Nigeria before. Look for buyers who need product features. Buyer purchase product for specific function. Identify moisture level required, purity, mesh size, package type, certification demanded. A potential buyer is the one whose technical requirement match your production. Consider market accessibility and regulatory fit. Some market may have demand but difficult regulatory barrier. In fact, one of the things we will be looking at in this series is barriers. I call it partition, like a barrier to entry the market. What are the common barriers for different products? And they are peculiar to different products. You need to be able to identify it and know how to bypass them. Some markets have demand, but difficult regulatory barrier like food safety, packaging requirement, facility rule, certification body, import restriction. A potential buyer is one located in a market you can meet the compliance they require. Validate buyer credibility. Very important. Oh my God. Particularly if you are shipping to Middle East. Some people are trying to mess up UAE. They are not Emiratis, but they come into UAE using the credibility of the country and the demand to buy for you, and sometimes they don't pay. Not all of them, but of course, some people in that country. So if you are shipping to UAE, you need to be very careful. Vietnam also, you need to be very careful. Not everybody there, but this is where I've had a lot of banks complain to me about their customer they funded that shift to those markets and have issues. A potential buyer is not only someone who needs your product, but someone who is legitimate. Does he have a website? Does he have any reference? Who is I done business with? Is he a member of a chamber of commerce? Someone said mostly asking for payment at site of BL. Does it belong to any chamber? Does it have a shipment history? And it's easy for you to know. Look, there are platforms you can go such that now paid platform this time around. If someone says it's an importer, if someone tell me today is an exporter in Nigeria, if I'm funding as a bank, I know where to go to confirm if he's saying, if you tell me he's shipping 1,000 tons, I can confirm if it's right or wrong. If it's right or wrong, I can confirm. If a buyer is telling you it's in a country, he says it's an importer in that country, there are platforms you can go and confirm if indeed it's an importer. So you'll be able to know if he's lying. Import license. This prevents fraud and wasted effort. Engage buyers who are actively purchasing. Not all target companies are buying now. This is why when you're prospecting, you want to target different people. Because you might reach out to someone and say, they just purchased, they won't buy until 3 months' time. So, indicator that buyer is active include the fact that they are currently importing the product, they appear on importer database, on shipment database, Panjiva, Import Yeti, Import Journals, and so many other platforms. They participate in trade fairs. They respond quickly and ask for specs. They want to see your certificate of analysis and certification. The principle here is that target buyer who are ready to buy, not just interested. Target buyer who are ready to buy, not just interested. Then the same principle, prioritize buyer who value long-term relationship. Who value long-term relationship. Prioritize buyer value long-term relationship. Potential buyer should not only be one-time customer. Look for distributor looking for continuous supply. Manufacturer planning long-term production. Retail brand seeking reliable supplier. And this buyer offers sustainability and growth. Principle that should guide the exporter to identify potential buyer. To identify potential buyer, understand the product, end user industry. I've talked about that. Study the value chain. Use HL's code in searching. Follow existing import demand. Match buyer size and production capacity. Focus on technical compatibility. Choose market you can comply with their regulation. Verify legitimacy and credibility. Target active buyer. Prioritize long-term relationship and focus buyers. Before we close, let's look at the problem. Someone said, how is a first-time exporter meeting all these requirements? Very important question. Which of the requirements? Ahmed, please drop what you mean exactly. Which of the requirements? So that I can ask advice. Don't generalize. Just tell me which of the requirements. Then I can answer your question. The problem. Now, what are the problems? Non-tariff barrier are restriction used by importing countries to regulate trade without applying direct tariff. For exporter of agro-commodity, solid mineral processed food, non-tariff barrier often represent the biggest challenge because they affect compliance, documentation, logistics, and market access. Although the nature of this product differs, and by this product I mean solid minerals, processed food, agricultural commodity. Understanding this barrier and proactively addressing them is critical for successful export participation. Entering the export market requires navigating a complex web of non-tariff barriers. Unlike taxes, that's tariff. These are regulatory and technical hurdles designed to protect consumer health, national security, ethical standard. Failure to comply result in immediate cargo rejection. Number one, strict quality safety and technical standard. Number two, complex documentation and certification requirement. Number three, import quota and restriction. Number four, packaging, labeling, and traceability requirement. Number five, sanitary and sanitary barrier. Number six, environmental and sustainability requirement. Number seven, logistics port, and bureaucracy. Let's take them one by one. Strict quality safety and technical barrier. One of the most prominent non-tariff barrier is the stringent technical barrier imposed by importing country. And as we look at different products from next week, we'll start with cocoa, and I'll show you the list when we're rounding up. We'll be looking at what are the technical barriers for each product. Now, the beauty is there are many markets. Some market might make some demand, and some other market might not make those demand. So that's why it's important you know the top 10 markets with demand for your product. So that if you are having issue with regulatory requirement in a market and you're unable to meet it, check out the other markets. Check out the other market. Agro-commodity must meet sanitary and pesticide residue limit, while processed food require compliance with food safety, labeling, allergen declaration, packaging, shelf life, standard. Solid mineral phase specification related to chemical composition, moisture, mesh size, and of course, the heavy metal level. The heavy metal level. How do you overcome this? Obtain internationally recognized certification. Having HACCP, GMP, organic certification, SGS quality inspection can help. Conducting pre-shipment inspection, aligning production with technical specification of target buyer. Complex documentation. One of the things you need to learn, because it's not enough to get buyer, one of the things to learn is the fact that you need to understand documentation. Paperwork is a major non-tariff barrier. Since missing or incorrect documentation lead to delay, fine, port rejection, importer requires certificate of analysis, facility certificate, and material safety data sheet for minerals, certificate of origin, fumigation certificate, and detailed labeling documentation. Someone said, okay, requirement like verifying if you have ever exported a particular product before. Okay, yes. Now, some people might require that. If you don't have that, of course, you look for another buyer that will not see that as something important. But I agree with you. If you have not exported before, then it will be a challenge dealing with such buyers. Use export consultant, maintain documentation checklist, work with licensed inspection agent and forwarders, and use export consultant or trade facilitation platform to ensure compliance. We work with our client to ensure documentation is not an issue for them. Import quotas and restriction. Country may restrict the volume of agro-commodity or processed food import. Some minerals also fall under import restriction. In fact, some countries don't want you to process what you're sending to them. They want you to process in their own country. So if you add any value, they won't want it. And Nigeria is telling us that we must now add value. Solid minerals, there's a minimum level of beneficiation you must do. Agro-commodity is becoming an issue. So value addition is going to be a major issue going into the future. Diversify market. Avoid dependence on quota-restricted countries. Communicate with buyers about quota timelines and pre-booking shipment. Target niche market where quota are lower or non-existent. Packaging, labeling, and traceability. Processed food face stricter labeling rules, including language requirement, nutritional panel, allergen information, batch coding, barcoding. Agro-commodity and mineral must also follow packaging guidelines to prevent contamination or leakage. How do you overcome this? Work with packaging designer, familiar with global regulation, implement traceability systems, and use durable export-grade packaging material. Sanitary and fertility measure. If you are doing perishables, vegetables. Someone said, I want to export the hibiscus tiger nut soya beans as a first-time exporter. So what's your question, Aisha? You can join our export mentoring program, Aisha. I will drop the detail when we round up. Fresh and dry agro product must meet sanitary and fertility measures to prevent pests and diseases. Failure to comply lead to fumigation, detention, or destruction. So this is why you must ensure you have your phytosanitary certificate, and in some cases, fumigation certificate, in some cases, irradiation certificate. There was a story I talked about on radio 2 weeks ago, where a $500,000 mango export from India was destroyed in the US. It came into 4 airports, and the issue was irradiation certificate. Do you know that they did that irradiation? They did it. They did that treatment, irradiation treatment. They did it. But the certificate they gave, the document, there was a discrepancy on it, and they didn't allow it to enter US. Even though it was done, $500,000 was destroyed because the people could not send it back to it would be too much cost because it was shipped by air. They destroyed it in the US last year. Conduct regular pest risk management, maintain hygienic storage and processing environment, environmental and sustainability requirement. This is becoming a major issue in the world. Importing countries increasingly require proof of sustainable sourcing. In fact, EU this year, they are going tougher on this. Timber, although timber is now banned, you can't export wood, either process or unprocessed from Nigeria. That has been banned last year. Cocoa, minerals, and certain agricultural commodities. Implement environmental compliance system. Provide sustainability audit and certification where required, and improve sustainability to demonstrate responsible sourcing. Logistics and port congestion. Logistics and port congestion. Delay at the port. Lack of efficient logistic infrastructure. Slow export clearance system constitute hidden non-tariff barrier that affect delivery timeline. And buyers' confidence. Delivery timeline and buyers' confidence. Plan shipment early, use reliable forwarder. Plan shipment early, use reliable forwarder. Leverage export processing zone. And fast-track inspection service. Maintain inventory buffer to meet demand despite delay. I just dropped a link to our Telegram channel, Export 360, so you can always get the link to this every week from there, so you don't miss out. Maintain inventory buffer to meet demand despite delay. Conclusion. Non-tariff barrier can significantly hinder export success across agro, commodity, solid minerals, and processed food. However, by prioritizing quality compliance, documentation accuracy, sustainable sourcing, and strong logistic planning, exporters can overcome these challenges. Remember, this recording will be on our YouTube channel from tomorrow or probably later today. Global Trade Tutor and Voice of African Trade. Subscribe, like, share, and drop your comment. These are the 105 products we're going to be going through. I'm sure your products of interest is on this list. So every week for the next 2 years, we're going to be going through this. The first we are doing is cocoa, followed by raw cashew nut, sesame seed, ginger, roasted cashew granite, yam tuber, cocoa butter, and we're going to be looking at them look at the subheading, we're going to be looking at them. We're going to be looking at them under this subheading. We look at the people, the purchaser, the protocol to follow, the potentials, the promotion, the partition, that's the barrier, and of course, the pitfall. While we go on break, you can drop your question or maybe raise up your hand if you have a question while we go on the short break. So you can drop your question. Next week, we are looking at cocoa. Cocoa. That's our focus next week. That's January 20th, 5 p.m., same time. We'll be meeting here on Zoom.
At 3T Impex, we believe every aspiring exporter deserves a clear pathway to international success.
That's why we created the Export Mentoring Program, from Export Novice to Export Legend.
This is a 6-month, hands-on mentoring program designed to take you from beginner to global exporter.
Every participant is guaranteed direct contact with 5 active international buyers.
You receive step-by-step handholding, from product selection and branding to documentation, logistics, and payments.
Most of our participants begin their first export transaction within 3 to 6 months.
And when you complete the program, you continue to enjoy free advisory services.
The program cost 1,200,000 naira and runs virtually with participants from Nigeria and around the world. If you're ready to move from export novice to export legend, this program is for you.
All right. Someone said, how do we know the exact document each product needs and also each country specification? Very important question. But Victor Carlo, you know what happened? When you get a buyer, when the buyer sign a contract with you, the buyer will put in that contract his quality specification and the document required. So generally, I don't think this should be a concern for you. What you can then do is to double check. But for most countries, you can find it on the government website. But for most of the time, in fact, unless the buyer is new, if the buyer is new and he has not done it before, then you need to do this research you talk about, and you can get it online. But sincerely, for most market and for most buyers, because they know they can't clear the goods if you don't provide those documents. So they call every contract, typically we have a section for quality specification, what I call parameters, and then they also have a section for document. Victor, I hope I answer your question. Any other question? Someone said, I want to export hibiscus tiger nut soya beans as a first-time exporter. Aisha, like I said, I will drop a number there. The number is also on the screen. You can reach us on that number, 009 2000 424. 009 2000 424. If you reach out to that number, you get information about our export mentoring program. Let me give you an alternative in case 08009993142. You can also chat that number. But the second one is a WhatsApp number. The first one you can chat and call, but the next is a WhatsApp number. So, any other question while we are rounding off today? Remember, we also have a Telegram channel, African Export Business Platform. You can join us on that Telegram. We have a radio program every week, but tomorrow there is a match, so we will not be having a radio program tomorrow. But every week, we have a radio program sponsored by Zenith Bank, and it holds 6:30 p.m. on Nigeria Info every week. On Nigeria Info every week. So you can join us on Nigeria Info, but from next week because of the match holding tomorrow. So we will not be having it tomorrow because it's clashing with the period of the match. So we'll be having next tomorrow.
I am looking for information on how to export chin-chin and plantain chips.
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
Okay, how about information on the quality requirements of palm oil for export?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
All right. What of information on how to do my pricing and costing for honey and tea export?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
What if I want information on how to find buyers abroad for poundo yam?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
How can I get information on how to export beans flour and prevent spoilage?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
What if I need information on how to prevent quality issues in plantain flour and yam flour export?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
How do I know the documentation requirements for the export of dried fruit and vegetables?
Processed Foods Export Atlas.
So, are you telling me that this one book contains all these information about exporting different processed foods?
Yes, it is your ultimate guide to successfully export 30 processed foods. It is not just a book, it is an atlas that provides comprehensive processed foods information in colorful charts and pictures. It is easy to read, saves you time, conserves your energy, and it's pocket-friendly.
The Processed Foods Export Atlas is the most important book you will ever read for successful export business. It is a one-stop shop for all the information required to export a particular...
I am looking...
All right, so I have two questions. You can keep the question coming as I play the videos. Someone said, how do we validate buyer credibility, their database aside for Trademark? Of course, Trademark was not to validate buyer credibility. I wanted to show you how to get top market for your product. If you want to validate buyer credibility, one of the things you can do is to ask them if they belong to any chamber of commerce. You can also ask for their company registration certificate and then check with the government agency in that country. For many countries like Nigeria and other countries, you can easily go to government website and use RC number to confirm if that company exists. So you can get their bill of lading, evidence of their previous shipment. You can get their certificate of registration in their country. You can get certificate of registration with the Chamber of Commerce and a host of other means. And if you have the means, can get a lawyer in that country to do a due diligence on them. Someone said, kindly share the platform to verify practicing exporter. Do you mean practicing? You mean practicing exporter in Nigeria? Erwin, please confirm that. If you mean exporter in Nigeria, you can use the same platform, Panjiva, Export Genius, Import Genius, Import Yeti. I mean, we have access to some database we can help check. We do those services for our client. But some people buy the database, actually. Some banks buy the database so that when you tell them you want to export and you are an exporter, they can easily check all your previous transactions. I hope I've answered those two questions. If you have other questions, please drop it while we play this video.
Congratulations, your search for buyers abroad is over. Through the help of the Eureka Pack. The Eureka Pack helps you do 7 things in order to get buyers abroad. It shows you how to 1. Get prepared to get buyers abroad. 2. Get the online tools to deploy to get buyers abroad. 3. Get list of markets with demands for your products. 4. Get the list of importers in that market. 5. Get the contacts of importers in that market. 6. Get the export contracts from the contact details of the importers. 7. Get favorable export contract terms. The Eureka Pack shows you how to enter the billion-dollar markets available for your products across the world at a very discounted rate of 60,000 naira. The valuable materials that you get upon purchase include 2 manuals and 27 videos explaining and demonstrating how to use the manuals to find buyers abroad. We know you are elated already and interested in ordering for the Eureka Pack right away. Place your order via a WhatsApp chat to 0809 999 3142 or email to info@3timpex.com. You can get this pack for just 60,000 naira. Grab your copy now.
Someone asked a question. How do we deal with shelf life requirements? Someone asked for shelf life of 2 years. Okay, so GEB, please, the product the person is asking for, if it's your product, what is the maximum shelf life? If the shelf life is not 2 years, of course you can't put 2 years on it. So it's to check to know your product, what is the maximum shelf life. Some buyers, some manufacturers, even if their shelf life is 1.5 years, sometimes they put 1 year. So for export market, sometimes they increase it. I'll take that again. Some buyers, some manufacturers locally, their shelf life is about 2 years, but they put 1 year or 1.5 years because of NAFDAC. So if you are not the one producing, you might need to confirm from the manufacturer. If they reduce their shelf life because of NAFDAC, but they know it's up to 2 years, then for your shipment, they can make it 2 years. If not, they have to put the exact shelf life because that's important for the buyers. So how do we deal with the shelf life requirement? Someone asked for it. I mean, if they insist for 2 years and your product is 1.5 years, I won't recommend you put years so that the product does not get spoiled on their shelf. They won't buy from you if the product gets spoiled again. That is great. Okay, that's Jonathan confirming the answer again. As a beginner, how do I write my quotation? Techno, by quotation, do you mean, sorry, do you mean quoting price? I assume you mean quoting price. Then you need to understand the cost element to arrive at a price. We have a session we do every Thursday that deal on that. Every Thursday, if you are joining us for the first time, we have exactly the same session for different products. We have done it for over 85 products because it's been on for 2 years. 85 products. And we're going to be continuing till around May this year. So if you are joining us for the first time, you can join us also on Thursday. That's why I dropped that link. If you see the link I just dropped, that's the link to our Telegram channel. If you join the Telegram channel, you will see the link for Thursday and the link for Tuesday. There are 2 different links, but they are recording link. The one for Thursday is recording for Thursday. The one for Tuesday is recording for Tuesday. So Techno, I hope I answer your question. If not, let me know.
At 3T Impex, we believe every aspiring exporter deserves a clear pathway to international success.
That's why we created the Export Mentoring Program, from Export Novice to Export Legend.
This is a 6-month, hands-on mentoring program designed to take you from beginner to global exporter.
Every participant is guaranteed direct contact with 5 active international buyers.
You receive step-by-step handholding, from product selection and branding to documentation, logistics, and payments.
Most of our participants begin their first export transaction within 3 to 6 months.
And when you complete the program, you continue to enjoy free advisory services.
The program costs 1,200,000 naira and runs virtually with participants from Nigeria and around the world. If you're ready to move from export novice to export legend, this program is for you.
All right, I hope I've answered all the questions. Okay, there is another comment. Please, the Telegram and YouTube channel. Okay, let me show you the YouTube channel. This YouTube channel. This video will be on YouTube every week. So it's going to be free. It's not going to be on our private e-learning platform where you pay. For those that have joined our program, you know most of the recording we do are paid, but we know this is needed by a lot of people. And that is why we are making it available free on our YouTube channel. And someone is asking for the Telegram channel. I will drop the link to the Telegram channel now. I've dropped the link to the WhatsApp channel, and I'm dropping Telegram channel now. On those two channels, every week you get the link to the program. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This is a good start. We have over 50 that join us today. Hoping we'll be able to share the link with your friends and allies as we start next week, and we'll be doing cocoa beans. Thank you very much, and have a great week ahead, and bye-bye.